This has been Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. I want to play you this clip of an interview Don Jr. just did where he says that if you want to join the military, if you are a militant woman, or if you say, hey, I'm trans, you will be made a general in our military. Play this clip.
Worst time spent ever for, by, again, probably a militant female who, will be an admiral or a general for no other reason other than they're probably female. And again, I'll get canceled for saying that,
Sure.
but I have a feeling if you're joining the military these days, if you check those boxes, if you could say, hey, I'm trans, general,
General.
you'll be so they can say they're doing it. And it's insane. And
I share this clip with you because literally the only thing that the radical right MAGA Republicans do is try to attack marginalized people, try to divide us, and try to literally just spread disinformation and lies and not focus on actual issues of import. I mean, literally nothing Don Jr. said there was true, but that's not the point. The point is to spread lies to the radical right MAGA base, to have them focus on any issue other than the fact that their own rights are being subordinated to the goals of billionaires who, the moment the radical right MAGA Republicans are in power, it's either complete fidelity to a wannabe dictator in Trump or providing billionaires with tax breaks. As I reflect back on Labor Day and think about all the things that Democrats did to fight for people's rights, to protect people's rights, to fight for workers, I think that the Democrats are the only serious party. And that's what I reflect upon in my view of the Democratic Party generally. It's the only party that takes issues seriously. And when you have people like Don Jr., who amongst MAGA Republicans are people who they look up to, I share these videos with you because 65 to 70% of this country is not MAGA Republican. And when you see Don Jr., who's a leader of MAGA Republicans, say that, I think the contrast is very clear. And this is the type of stuff that they want to talk about to try to divide us before the midterm elections, while Democrats are focused on things like, how do we protect people's rights? How do we codify rights like the Obergefell decision, which allowed for same-sex marriage and recognized a constitutional right there too, which Republicans want to immediately repeal, and which is in the Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe v. Wade, that is what they are coming for next. Democrats want to protect a woman's right to choose, and Democrats will continue to fight for it despite the fact that the radical right Supreme Court has overturned that right, and we're seeing absolute abortion bans put in place in all of these Republican states that don't even have exceptions for rape or incest. That is who the radical Republicans are. We see Democrats passing the PACT Act to try to get health care for our troops who are exposed to toxic burn pits, while Republicans are fist bumping each other and high-fiving each other that they're preventing our troops from getting that health care. It's actually something that happened. Democrats are passing infrastructure bills and inflation reduction acts and trying to protect Social Security and Medicare from the arms of Republicans who want to repeal those things. And so the contrast is utterly clear. But I will say something to Don Jr. about women, and that is that women are going to help save our democracy. They did in 2020, and in 2022, these midterms, with the stats that we're seeing of voter registration and the rise in voter registration from female voters particularly, I want to say that those types of statements by you, Don Jr., is one of the impetus for that. It is horrible, horrible statements, incredibly disparaging, and completely intended to divide our country, and we're just not having it anymore. This has been Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Make sure you hit the subscribe button right now. just past 500,000 subscribers, on our way to 1 million. Join the MeidasTouch movement. Also, check out the MeidasTouch podcast. Just search wherever you get your podcast. Search for MeidasTouch podcast and make sure you hit subscribe there as well. Check out the podcast I do with me and my brothers, which is now in the top 25 of all podcasts in the world for news. This has been Meiselas signing off.
This November is Rowvember. MeidasTouch just released its brand new collection of Rowvember t-shirts and pins to let the country know what's at stake this upcoming midterm election. Go to store.meidastouch.com to grab yours. That's store.meidastouch.com.